Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. She's not. She's on the Zoom. I don't know.
Well, I didn't say this either.
Are you afraid of
No,
no, come sit here with us. Now I want you here. You'll put your name plate up there, be like, dang, now see.
Yep, that way.
Yeah. It's hard to ask and everything, so, but I did talk.
She said before she ever got tested, they said. So are you?
Our numbers are going up. I had you guys.
Yes. There's an uptick, isn't there?
There is an uptick in our county.
Yes, there is.
Ready? Okay. It's now 7:16 and we're gonna open up the regular meeting of the Mount Pocono Borough. It's the call to order and the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have some preliminary announcements there. We had an executive session on personnel matters from 6:45 to 7:05. And also at 6
From 6 to 6:30.
Well, they didn't start at 6:30. They started at 6:45.
No, exactly.
No, we came in here at 6, we went to 6 to 6:30.
On Saturday. Oh, you're right, right. My mistake. Okay. And following that, we had a public hearing from 6:45 to 7:05 on transfer of liquor license. Okay, the next, I'd like to point out a couple things that, well, I'll do this later. The next item we have here is the approval of the minutes, and the March 4th minutes are not ready yet, but we can approve the March 15 minutes, which we have here in our hands. And I'd like to just point out one thing on page 1 of 9, that under the president's report, the meeting that we had prior with Mike, Tom, myself, and Josh was not to set the agenda for this March 15th meeting. That was just to get some things cleared up and see which direction we were going. For that, I'd like to just change that it was not conducted to set agenda for this meeting. That's the only thing I have on the March 15th. Does anybody else have any changes?
I have just one change under the mayor. I just made a comment about, I stated I hope the meetings would be civil going forward, and that borough council meetings would again be more productive going forward. Just a slight change. Okay. Oh, you know what? Did we turn the mics on? We did. Under the mayor comment here, I said my statement was that I hope the meetings will continue to be civil, and that the borough council meetings will be more productive going forward.
Okay, any other comments on the March 15th minutes?
Am I to understand that the meetings
Not-
prior,
We'll
I'm
entertain a
speaking,
motion that
hello, hello,
we approve the minutes of March 15th
hello,
as changed.
hello?
Patty's making a motion. Do we have a second? Somebody's got her. You want to second the motion for the minutes?
Yeah, 7 council members, you know what I mean? So maybe we could give them a chance.
You don't want to approve let's say you don't want to second the motion.
No, I feel that there's a few things that were discussed or missing from there, but
From the work session?
yeah, from the work session, I just don't have my notes with me, so I don't want to. They're actually out in the car. So
Should-
I don't have my notes with me.
Do you think we should revisit these when we revisit the other
Yeah.
minutes?
I know that we made a few things that were supposed to be tabled, and I only see 2 things on here that are tabled, and I think there's something missing. And I want to.
We're not saying what was at the meeting with myself, Tom, and Mike, and Josh. That's not even mentioned in this.
Right, that's what I'm saying, the minutes to me feel a
Well,
little
this was,
lacking.
Who's creating these minutes?
which meeting you're talking about? I'm talking,
We're talking about March 15th, that's the most on the floor.
yes. to approve
That's
the
our
one.
last meeting. We had a very long meeting. There were quite a few things at that meeting that I don't believe are on here. Hence the reason why I am not going to
Okay,
second to approve
and
this.
let me state them and see if these are the ones you're concerned about.
I
We
read
dis-
it, I read it, I
We
know what's on
discussed,
here.
let me explain. We discussed a policy on working from home, and we tabled that,
Right.
that discussion. And then, we discussed building closing policy, and we tabled that.
We also
And,
tabled the
and
time clock.
completing the personnel policy, that hasn't been done either.
Right.
We also tabled employee paid time off. I have my notes from that meeting.
Actually, I would agree with Ada. Let's revisit because also the BWA grant letter of
Okay.
support,
Okay.
that was not tabled for more time to review. So, yeah, let's fix these.
Okay, so we're not approving any amendments, either the 4th or the 15th.
Right.
Okay. With that, we'll go into the officer's report, and we'll start out with me. And I would have a few things I'd like to say. Some things that we haven't
Are
since,
we gonna take care of Wawa first? I'm sorry.
what?
Are we gonna take care of Wawa first? or-
After down in the unfinished business or down in that way, not yet. So, are there stuff that we could do?
Yeah, that's why I thought we were doing.
All right, we can do that. Let's wait on those particular things, the officer's report, and we'll go to the Wawa program. What we have to do is make a motion.
Actually, we have to adopt a resolution,
Right.
and the resolution states that we approve transfer of the liquor license that was discussed earlier, which is license R-20076, from where it is presently, which is a Martinsville, Pennsylvania post office address, to Wawa and its new facility in Mount Pocono, to be located at 3190 Route 940. And we understand that the transfer must be approved at a later date by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. So that would, if you're inclined to approve this, you would make a motion to adopt this resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Now we'll go on the question. We have a first and a second. Do you have a question, Ian?
I do have a question. So I am all for Wawa. I love the idea that we'll be the 3rd in the state to actually host a Wawa that sells alcohol. My concern is our bills currently with the police department. The hours of operation where they're going to be selling alcohol are a lot later than most of our established places right now. And I'm hoping that after the pandemic, that won't be the case, like after some things get lifted and stuff. But we're talking from 7 to 2 a.m. every day. 2 a.m. being able to go buy a 6-pack of beer right here in our borough. Our current locations in the borough that serve alcohol don't allow that, or are not currently selling alcohol that late, outside of a bar. Right, outside of a bar, which is kind of where you expect that activity. So I'm just concerned about the type of traffic we're gonna be bringing in and our police coverage, because we're limited with police coverage hours. However, again, I do like, and I'm just bringing this up as a point of reference for us to discuss, I do like the fact that we will be the 3rd, and it gives us an opportunity to bring something new to Monroe County.
Mr. President.
Okay, Tom, thank you, William.
I'd like to say that I think the only traffic that Wawa is gonna bring in with the liquor license is the people going to Wawa. Anybody else that wants a six-pack is gonna go to the bars around their area. So I don't think that's a problem, that they're gonna get more of an influx of people going to Wawa to buy a six-pack or have two drinks, where they can have it at a bar that's open till 2 o'clock in the morning. Right now, they can't be open till 2 in the morning because of COVID
Right.
regulations. But when this is all over and done, the licensees can be open till 2 in the morning. So I think the Wawa liquor license is just for if they're gonna get their gasoline or their food or whatever, from there. They're gonna say, oh, I can pick up a six-pack now, boom.
I believe,
My opinion.
Claudette wants to ask a question.
Go ahead.
If you can type it, Claudette, we can't hear you. I don't know if your mic's on. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Jim, do we need to-
Okay, I guess they can't hear me.
If you could type your question, it's not coming through.
If she wants to speak, she can call my phone. I can.
Okay. If you want to call Ada's phone, she'll put it up to the
No,
mic.
thanks. No, thanks.
Don't worry.
She's asking a question about the March 4th minutes.
Well, we tabled that.
No, we didn't table March 4th,
Yeah,
we did.
until next meet.
March 15th.
We tabled
Oh,
both.
March 4th is on the,
Table both of them.
Well, yeah,
it's just on the agenda.
Not
that way,
ready.
Yeah. Because they're not ready yet. They're incomplete.
they're false.
Okay.
Okay? All right, any other comments?
Patty's in the bathroom.
I'll move to the public. The public have any comments?
Anybody have comments for the liquor license over in Wawa? No?
Would Wawa like to address your situation?
You want to address
I did
Ada's?
not, it wasn't a specific question to them, that was just a concern that I
You were
have.
concerned,
you're
it was your
concerned.
concern, okay.
It's not specific to them, I just know that, once this gets passed, I have to go to the police commission. Be like, you guys better be hanging out at Wawa.
Okay.
I worry, because that's where I drive.
And-
that
Patty,
area.
Okay.
PLCB is
All right, Jim, you want to?
enforced by the state police too.
That's this resolution.
Yeah, that's what the motion is. The motion is.
The motion was to adopt.
Okay, you stated the motion already, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You heard the motion, we had a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion so carried. All right,
Do you know what the resolution number is?
no, I don't know.
I do not know.
No.
You have to check.
When we get it,
Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
So I'll get this to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much. everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Have a safe trip back.
that's done. Oh, no. All right,
Mr. President, I
Yeah.
asked where our secretary is, that's supposed to be doing minutes for us.
Oh,
by the way,
It's on recording, he's got it recorded.
oh, he's recording, okay,
There he is.
all right.
No, it's not. I don't know.
All right, under the president's report, I guess you know that we had a executive meeting, and we also had a public hearing, and now we're in our regular monthly meeting. And I have some comments as far as what has happened since March 15th. We initiated the following. We develop the key roster of all of who has keys to our buildings and what buildings. And the second one, who has the borough property in their possession, i.e. laptops, cell phones. We adopted a new fee schedule for 2021. We had a schedule of all dedicated roads and dates when they were paved last. The things that we did not cover was the policy, we discussed them, but we did not approve them, was a policy on working from home, policy on building closing policy, and we did not complete the personnel policy handbook. That's all I have. Go to the mayor.
Okay. So this is good news. After a hiatus last year due to COVID, we're restarting our yearly Joseph Battisto Cleanup Day. It'll be Saturday, April 24th from 8 to noon, gathering right here behind the building at the pavilion. It's the same day as the Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau Pick Up the Poconos Day. And so we're coordinating with the County Waste Authority to provide gloves and safety vests and trash bags and so on. Our road crew also will be along so they can kind of drive along and protect us, give us some protection on the road and returning filled trash bags to the dumpsters. And thank you to Ada. I think you're going to be there, right, Ada?
I will be there.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Begrudgingly, but I will be there. I
No.
want to see our streets clean, so I hope that everybody comes. Maybe we can wear matching t-shirts or something.
No, it's great to have. I mean, last year,
Yeah.
of course,
Last
COVID
year was
and
national. It was the year before we were out.
yeah. And also this spring's street sweep days will be April 19, 20, 21, and 22. Those are the days that we sweep the cinders into the street, so they'll come through. And then spring leaf pickup will be April 28th. Please put leaves in paper or biodegradable bags as opposed to plastic ones. And I think they're available at the local hardware and grocery stores.
Yeah,
Lowe's, yeah. Also, I want to mention, I've also recently provided a letter of support for a grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation to fund the Broadhead Watershed Association's Project Headwaters. So one of the things about living in a developed area with paving and concrete and buildings is that all that stormwater that would naturally get sucked into the ground gets diverted off roads and pavement into concentrated areas. Things like salt, oil, chemicals also travel with the water and contaminate our streams and drinking water. BWA is aiming to develop a few infrastructure projects in the borough to collect this water before it gets to streams and the water table. So this grant would help BWA to provide planning, outreach, and demonstration projects for stormwater infrastructure in the borough. And they're also asking if council could do the same, authorize a separate letter of support from council for the grant. And if council supports this, could a motion be made during new business for a letter of support?
Are they going to be requiring any financial support in regards to that if they receive the grant?
No, I'll say, in fact, they've offered to give the authority some money recently for some projects.
Has
But
the authority provided them a letter as well?
Jonathan was, I think he was going to, when I spoke to him, he said he was. Yeah, I don't know that he has yet or not. Yeah, that was, I believe, last week. So finally, if you'll recall back to October last year, I explained that following on our first updated emergency operations plan in 20 years, which is required by law to be done annually and to get reimbursed for federal and state emergency funds, the county is putting together its hazard mitigation plan. And I asked if council members or anyone from the public might offer suggestions as to what types of hazards the borough might face. High winds, flooding, winter storms, extreme temperatures, and so on. What was that?
Our fog.
I suppose, if it's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Our still relatively new emergency management coordinator, Rich Gannon, is honestly, he's so on the ball. He calls me all the time with this stuff. When that accident happened on Center Avenue, he was in touch a few times a week at least. sometimes a few times a day. We've been attending countywide meetings to identify potential hazards in the borough and to assess the risk of each of those hazards. We're providing that information to the county, who will put together a countywide plan, which will then adopt as part of our borough's overall emergency operations plan.
In regards to hazards, do you know that spot right in front of Burger King? I hate to be off topic or if this is on topic or not. Where the water drainage is, we're always getting a sinkhole there, and there's every time PennDOT comes through, they just put a big orange cone on it. I think it's our guys that put the cone there, but every year they go to fix it. Every year it gets broken. Is there not something that can be done?
We can,
People come through there and intentionally
Burger
try
King.
to avoid hitting it, going into the next lane and like next to the sidewalking.
it's in the right lane.
It's in the right lane,
Yeah.
right in front of,
I think I know where you mean there. Yeah.
940 making, going south onto 611. So
Okay.
it's like, right there, there's a drainage that, that constantly becomes like a miniature sinkhole every year.
We'll check with PennDOT. I don't know that we have, but we can.
What?
Yeah.
You know, if you go back when they were doing the repairs, let's say to the intersection there, they had that particular manhole or catch basin out in, like halfway in the lane.
Right,
And then they moved it that way, so it's probably because it's
it's
settled.
probably because they moved it.
Well, it's
So-
because it's settled.
Right.
They just moved it back and,
But they keep doing something to it every year. I have to say it, that they have done something every year and it stays, you know, it maintains itself for a good 5 months and then it just collapses.
right.
And so like my biggest
You're gonna
concern is
Yeah.
that like,
Okay.
it really is gonna collapse.
Mike said he'd report that to the state. Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Josh, you have anything on the borough secretary?
All right, good evening, everyone. So the first item is, and that's actually on the agenda, that the sale of the land on Brunswick Drive, so that'll, I know we'll get to that a little bit later, but I did talk to Fran. Fran had instructed me to reach out to Classic Quality Homes. I guess they were interested in it previously. I did reach out to them. They are interested in it again. They sent me an email that's in your packets. The same offer of $12,000. They'll cover half of the closing costs, but not the association dues if there are any dues connected to that. So that would be up to, of course, up to council whether or not you want to move forward with that. I did check with Jim Ferrari just to make sure, because in the borough code you have to do a certain amount of advertising and accept bids and things like that. Jim, I know you said you were going to look into that. Did you?
Yeah, and I couldn't locate any file I had in this, but we advertise. it.
We advertised it. We
Couple
had it
times,
appraised,
yeah.
And then we did that, but we're good.
Okay.
We crossed that T.
Josh, could I just say, I asked you to do it, and what happened is they contacted Classic Homes, who gave us the offer of $12,000. And they get an EDU, okay? Now, what we're asking them to do is pay all their share of the cost for the ownership for the remainder of the year or whatever it is. And also their share of the closing costs.
There was the statement about the association dues.
There's no association. It's just taxes.
Well, that's
sewage.
prorated. So-
Yes, and we have to take it to it.
All right.
So I guess, why don't we make a motion, or somebody make a motion that we sell it, or
Isn't it in here?
It is on the agenda. I
is
just-
it on this agenda?
Yeah, I was just mentioning.
Okay, all right, we'll get that later then.
Then we'll get it later.
The next thing I did want to mention, I think it's also on the agenda, but just going through some of the things that I pulled together. Matt Pencil did submit an interest for the vacancy board. So I know that's down there as well. We did advertise it in the paper. I received no other correspondence on that. He was the only person, so that's definitely there for board.
That's a motion too.
Yep, that's a motion for board consideration. As well as, of course, it's on there as well, Robert Stank had resigned from Parks and Recreation, so that's, of course, a motion to accept that and then approve the advertisement that we'll send out. And I did also want to kind of bring up, well, and then just while we're on the resignation, of course, it's under the road crew. We did receive a resignation letter that one of the road crew members had put in their 2 weeks notice today. So I did send it out to council to take action on that. Separately, I received some correspondence and I did send this to Fran and I copied Tommy and Mike Penn on this. Parks and Recreation have been asking about the transfers that occurred at the end of 2020 from the Parks and Recreation Fund to the general fund. I don't have any response to give to that. It was somewhere 50,000 or north, money that was taken out of the Parks and Recs. It was sent to the general fund. So I've been getting a lot of questions at that. I don't have anything to respond. If you can instruct me.
I wasn't involved in it at that. Mine was March.
I'm sorry, I can hear you.
Mine was March 5th when I started. But I do believe, what it probably is to pay the bills that were outstanding for December. I mean, and I think probably maybe Danielle could look in the treasurer's records there and see what they did with the 50,000.
We can sit down with Danielle and kind of go through, because there were a couple transfers that happened at the end of the year, and we can sort that all out and do an accounting of that and let
But I'm
people
sure
know.
we can get an answer for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Next item, we did receive the audit back from the Mount Pocono Borough tax collector, Joanne FICO. So that's definitely in the packet for your review. I did briefly look through it. It looks like, everything was somewhat okay. There were some discrepancies as far as the balance of the accounts. So that's definitely there for you to review. We did also receive a pension audit through the Auditor General, and they audited the different pensions that we have. They're active, and they were able to do that. No issues, no major issues that they had found. They actually did find, actually I will state, they did find that there was like an error in one of the calculation of one of the former employees, that we weren't giving them enough actually pension payments. That was on their end. That was an error on their end. So they did fix that, and they're going to send that person a lump sum check to make up that difference. So that was taken care of. I did include a copier. So the copier that we have in the office, the lease is with Top Copy. It expires April 27th. So we wouldn't really need to take action. I just threw it in there so you can look at it. We have a couple proposals from Top Business Solutions, also another one from Access Office Technologies. Different amounts, different things. We can either purchase it or we can lease it. It's usually always cheaper if we purchase it, if we have the funds to purchase it, and then we pay much lower payments monthly. But we are going to have to make that decision. I did, Mike's aware of that, and I think we're going to throw that on the agenda for the work session. But that's just something that we're going to have to do very, very soon. Yes.
Josh, I have a suggestion. I think I read what they're charging, let's say just for the rental, and then how much they're charging for each sheet or whatever. I think we should go take 3 months in the past and see how many copies that we've made and compare it to what, when you put it down, this is what's going to be our monthly cost on an average now compared to what we're paying now.
Absolutely.
But I think you ought to do that for like 3 months and see what your average is.
Absolutely, we could do that. I know I worked very closely with Top Copy because that's who we have now. So we worked very closely. We looked at the actuals and compared it to what we're actually using. So we were able to change the numbers a little bit to get a lot of cheaper options. But we can definitely look through that thing. And then I also included in the packets the most recent right to know requests that have come in. There were 3 of those, I believe, that included in there, and I was able to fulfill one of these so far. So we're definitely moving along to try to get those done. And they take time. They take time to kind of collect things, especially if the information is out in other people's hands. It just takes a little time to collect all that. But we're working on that as well. I also included in there Jim Trevetta's maintenance overview. He's at the maintenance report. If you have any questions, certainly direct that towards Jim. There's a letter towards the end that I stuck in there. We had received it a while back. It wasn't something for immediate consideration, but it's actually, I believe it's the last page in your packet. Very strange letter.
Oh, yeah.
If you look through it, I didn't know what to say, but it's just, but it, obviously you can see the envelope. Someone had sent it out as neighborhood watch, but they used our address. It went to Style, I think it's Styles Barber Shop. Very, very strange, very aggressive letter towards them, but obviously it was returned to sender, so it came back to us. So I don't think the business ever received it. I haven't really taken any action of it. It's just, I just wanted to make you aware of it. It's just a very odd letter.
Josh, best of my knowledge, we have no neighborhood watch.
Right, yeah, to my knowledge, there's no neighborhood watch as well, so it's
Yeah.
very, very strange, but,
I would send that to the police department.
well, I was thinking about that, except,
No, we will destroy you.
yeah.
Is the bottom line, that's a threat, and it looks like
You got
it's
the
coming
envelope.
from us, then it's the police
I would
department.
give that to them. This is good.
You have a representative here right now.
We do. Some other things that have been brought to my attention. So I've been kind of trying to sift through some things and just to try to really understand what was going on. And it's very clear, and I'll just make this a public statement. It's very clear that someone, I don't know exactly who, but someone is actively working, I think, to obstruct what we're doing in the office. I had a staff meeting this morning. Every other Monday, I meet with the staff, Danielle, Alexis, Diana, and Jim. We all meet together. We go over some things, we review some things, we make sure we're all on the same page. We're all busy, but we take it, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour just to kind of run through and do department reports. We started noticing some inconsistencies. So it started a while back, and some things were missing. I actually called, I'm not throwing Jim under the bus, but I actually called Jim as Jim. There's some documents missing from the office. What do I do about that? And so he just said, make sure you document it and keep tracking it. I'm not putting words in your mouth, Jim, but that's
That was after.
okay. It started with when everybody was asked to turn in the statement of financial interest forms. There were different candidates who had turned their forms in to declare their candidacy. And usually they would come and they would turn them in directly to Diana, or they would turn it in to myself. There was, I think, one individual that turned theirs in themselves. They didn't turn it in to anybody directly. So that was a little concerning because Diana asked me, did you check this person in? I said, no, I didn't. And it looked like they had maybe checked themselves in and put it. So it was obviously someone with a key to the office. It was not long after that one of the forms, there is a candidate who's running for mayor, not my pick, but there's another candidate who was running for mayor, and his statement of financial interest form was missing. It was the only one missing out of the entire file. So we were very concerned about that. Thank God I was able to call the county. They had a copy of it. They sent it over. Not an issue. But we looked around. We thought maybe it was missing. The next thing was Jim Trebetta. He said you all saw that file where the email where the files were missing. The files of the equipment and the vehicles completely gone. We looked through the office.
Yeah, but it was found, wasn't it?
It mysteriously came back after he sent that email. That's the issue. So we looked through the office twice, and every single filing cabinet wasn't there. He actually said he reached out to Lori to find out where is this usually, and she said exactly where it was. It was just the next day after we sent that email out, and I think Claudia was the only one who responded that it mysteriously reappeared in the file. Yes, sir.
Who has keys to your office?
To my office, to my knowledge, only myself and Mike Penn. have keys
And
to
Claudette.
I've never
Yeah.
seen her key, so.
No, I gave it to her. We've discussed that.
Did you see Mike's key?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
You see Mike's keys?
Yeah, he's used
Okay.
it. When I wasn't here,
Yep. I used it tonight, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
That was financial statement?
Yes.
Nine.
Speaking of it.
The financial statements.
Our microphone's
All right,
on.
I'll yell. The financial statements that we turned in, are they in a locked cabinet?
They are now.
Well, they should have been, because that kind of upsets me, because it's my personal business as well as everybody else.
But they're public record though. Those are public documents. So that's how I first
I
realized.
don't care, it's my personal business, my social security number.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
alarming that they're missing.
The social's
No,
not
it's
on
not.
there.
It's
Social
not.
security's not on
Okay.
there.
That's
Absolutely, yeah, that should be locked, but but that's my issue, is that now, instead of just being able to be, satisfied with the work that we do in the day, and we can go home and come back and do more work, now we have to be, we had a discussion, now we have to be, we've got to be concerned about where we're storing things, we've got to move things around, it's just not the way it should
Do
be.
the cleaning people have a key to your office?
Do the cleaning people have a key? Yeah, they were given a key, yes.
They have.
You're
Oh, wait, no, not to my office,
No,
no,
not you.
no,
Okay,
not my
does
office.
Jim Trebetta have a key to your office?
No.
He doesn't have a key to your back
Does not
door?
have a key to my note,
Okay.
not
to
to
the
my
back
knowledge.
door.
There's
the
three
back door.
people that
That's
have
my
it,
office.
Josh, Mike, and
Claudette.
Claudette, which she says she doesn't.
So it gets worse. So then I realized that there were documents in my own desk, and again, I was locking my door, not really worried if somebody was coming. I didn't think anybody was coming in and out. Documents in my own desk, that were actually missing. And I realized this after I was looking through some things and trying to organize my filing. Documents were taken. Again, I was able to obtain copies. I sent an email out. As soon as I sent the email out, they were returned, but here's how I tested it. I actually moved the file to a different location in my office, and they reappeared in that other location in the file right on top, as if I wouldn't have noticed that somebody just stuck it in there. So that was a little concerning. It happened actually a few days ago, not too long ago, that some more documents were taken, but again, I was able to just print them out and scan them now. Now we're scanning everything as much as we can. It's sad that we have to do that. The question that Claudette was asking, I just read the chat, speaks to the worst of it, is that the audio recording from March 4th that Diana always holds, and we transcribe. You're asking Councilman Neville who transcribed or who puts together the meeting minutes. So it's a combination of notes. Alexis takes notes, I take notes. We use the Zoom recording if we have it. We use a recording of this. Put it all together. So the recording from March 4th is missing. Somebody stole it out of the office, completely gone.
So, but before you start characterizing things like that, maybe you should ask. No, the March 4th recordings were removed to send. It's on the agenda tonight to send to a transcriber. So,
I'm sorry, when were they removed? Nobody told us that. Who removed them?
I removed them because a couple council members. There's nothing wrong with that. We're sending them to. It's on the vote. Joshua, stop with the antics. Get up to the microphone.
I can stand anywhere I want.
You can, but there's nothing going
Do
on.
you realize the heart attack we were having?
Did you ever ask?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Around.
No, you
Why would I
didn't.
need to ask? Because if I would have asked you, you would have said I was accusing you.
No, I wouldn't, Joshua.
But why wouldn't you offer that information?
I went in one evening, as I often do, to pick up my mail, and I took the recordings because a couple of us have been talking, and they need to be. There's going to be a vote. It's on the agenda tonight to send them to a transcriber, a court reporter.
Stay there until we have the vote.
Can I ask a
No,
question?
no.
That's a part of a record.
couple of you decided, what couple?
Who did you,
What couple?
who did,
Who did the March 4th minutes?
Me and Diana did the.
You are responsible as secretary. Flat out.
Yes.
You're responsible. I don't know why Diana's doing it. Where did the language come from? Because I'm having a really bad problem with what's in these minutes.
So we hadn't approved those minutes, but my
It
question,
doesn't matter. It
but we're
went out.
talking about the audio being.
Okay, so here's the issue. Why they were removed was because I'm going to go to what Patty and I think Tom wanted to bring up. And
Yeah.
I had advised before this meeting not to, but there were comments in the minutes that did not happen.
Yep.
And they were added to the minutes, and the recording is being sent to a court reporter to get it right.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Who made the ruling?
What's that?
Who made the decision?
It's on, that decision, first off, is on the agenda for today.
Uh-huh.
That audio should not have been removed until we.
No, the fear was that it was going to be destroyed.
Let me
Right.
finish. The fact that if that was a fear, an email should have been sent out to the entire council so that the rest of us would have had the opportunity to know what was going on. So that when Joshua came up here making these allegations or telling us what's going on, we're not sitting here freaking the hell out. Okay, so that's one. Two, if
Again.
it has not been decided, nothing should be removed from that office. There is a audio and video of that meeting on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's on there.
Yeah.
So Even if, God forbid, that were to disappear, there is another place to get it. Not to say that it's accurate or very easy to listen to, but it's available. To just go in and take it and not notify everybody, especially the staff that's responsible for it. If I am physically in my job responsible for this, and you come after I'm off hours and take it and don't tell me, you're wrong. That's right.
So when Lori was here, Lori often gave the recording.
I don't care about Lori. We're talking about right now.
Let me speak. She often gave the recording once the minutes were done. And they had done their minutes. And they're inaccurate. And there was a fear that they were going to be destroyed. And also, I might add that the Jim Trombetta's equipment files, there was a comment made by, I'm going to say a third party, that they were returned by Claudette.
Okay, can we
So,
stay on this?
no, because it's related.
Excuse me?
This is all being brought up together.
Excuse
So,
me?
I know where this is going. I know what the accusation is. And the fact is,
Excuse me?
council members were concerned that things are being I'll let them speak. I'll let them speak for themselves. I'm not being selective. I'm letting them speak
Mike
for
has the floor
themselves.
here. Let's listen to it.
First of all, I have one question, Josh.
Mike.
Who did you notify that these things were missing?
All my staff, that would be the first
The
place
staff,
I would
you
go to.
didn't, it wasn't president of council? It wasn't mayor?
I'm sorry, first of all, I went to the staff to try to locate it.
Right, I understand that. Then who in charge did you
When did it go missing?
notify?
It went missing towards the middle of March.
I didn't ask when it went missing. I
I
asked who you
did.
just,
I asked when it was.
I know. but he's looking at me, but my question was, who did you notify on council that these things were missing?
On council, I don't recall notifying anybody, except I did have a discussion with Jim Ferrari because I was concerned about the legality, because it's connected to a right to know request. There is a right to know request to fulfill that's connected to that. So I was sweating because I couldn't find it to fulfill that right to know.
Right, so you didn't notify anybody on council about it, first of all.
And nobody on council notified me.
Did you notify council?
I did not notify my council.
There's the
Council
answer.
did not
Okay, but he
notify me.
didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna just break away from this a little bit, and this has something to do with what the mayor talked about, the minutes, the recordings and such. For 2 meetings we have in print that went out to the general public and to council and where else, God knows, that it was said that Patty Bucco and I, Tom Neville, made a decision to oppose Claudette Williams because of the color of her skin. This is totally false. She never said it, and I want proof of it. And that being said, this is the minutes of March 4th. Claudette, as president, has some very nasty words that she said to our residents that was not put in the minutes. Then after we had the election of Fran Boyle as president, she said, sure, put the white guy in charge. But we're being charged for being racist because of the color of skin. I'm here right now to put it on the record and put in your ears that I denounce any type of racism. I'm not a racist. I'm not a bigot.
You are.
And
You
get your
are.
story straight.
Are you?
Yeah, you
Go
put it in the
check your
minutes.
Facebook
You
page.
put it in the
You
minutes.
are a
I want proof of
racist
that.
individual. You are a racist individual.
We're gonna get him.
Check
Well,
your
we
page.
heard it on 570.
Check your
We heard
page.
it on Facebook. I talked to people that were at the
Check your
meeting.
page.
He never heard it. Okay?
Nobody heard it at the meeting.
Were these comments brought to me, Councilman, before tonight?
No,
Why not?
because I was holding my tongue. That was the proper way to say it.
The proper way to say it was publicly screaming at me in front of everybody?
That's right. Because you're disgracing me as calling me a racist, and I'm not a racist.
That is not true.
That is true. By the color of her skin.
Does it say Joshua Walker called you a racist? Is that what the text says?
Hold on. You know what, Joshua Walker, you are responsible for these minutes. You as secretary should be signing these minutes. These are legal documents. My name is attached to color of skin. I have a problem with that. I never said that. I don't have a problem with color of skin. I don't have a problem with religion. I am far from a racist. And are you kidding me? It's in the minutes, and these were a draft that went out not once but twice. And it's not, I listened to the recording from 570, probably about 20 times. I asked the people that were in the audience. Nobody heard that. I couldn't hear anything because I was at the end. So if I was at the end, you, my friend, were further away. So I want to know how color of skin, color of her skin got in there.
And I want to know why you didn't put, she said,
What she
oh,
said.
sure, put the white man in charge.
Okay, I could easily put that in there. I think we have.
No,
some
not
discussion.
easily. Why didn't you?
Hold on a second, excuse me.
No,
Let me
transcript.
actually
I'm
speak.
letting you answer, go.
That's exactly, it's not a transcript of the meeting.
Well, it was important enough for you to say the color of the skin to be that racial. Why don't you put the other racial in?
Members of council, I have to interject.
Please
You are
do.
defeating the purpose of being elected officials by having this type of controversy, this type of conversation in a meeting like this. The purpose of this meeting is to do the business of the people and to get past these issues like this.
I apologize to the residents and to council.
I agree that they need to be resolved, that to have an ongoing 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute conversation.
Okay.
There's other items on the agenda that the residents are concerned about. They're not
Okay.
concerned about this type of stuff.
Okay,
Let
residents,
me tell you, just hold on. I've been a solicitor here for 31 years. I've never seen anything like this in my 31 years. I'm absolutely shocked and astounded and embarrassed by what I hear at these meetings. The last meeting up there was horrible that I went to. Get your act together. If you don't want me as a solicitor, if you're PO, because I'm saying that, get rid of me. But get your act together and get this council back on the train track.
residents of Mount Pocono, I apologize, but I just want to put on record that I denounce racism. I did not say that. I'm a fair person, and it's my name that is connected to this sentence. Nobody else's but me and Patty's. And I watched it twice come about, and I will not say no more until it's to be brought up. Thank you. I apologize.
Josh, would you finish your?
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, I was just concerned about where everything was going, why it was disappearing. I did go back and watch the security footage. I'm glad the mayor did mention that he was the one that removed it. I did notice some footage of him kind of going in and digging through, the other members' mailboxes, which they're open. So, I mean, anybody, I guess, can look through it, but digging through those. And then I did see video footage of the mayor entering my office empty-handed, coming out with papers. I don't know what he found. I don't know what he was looking for. I'm just a phone call away. If you're looking for things, I can certainly help you, but just want to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh. All right, with that, we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Do you have any questions? I do. All right, so we're doing 2 reimbursements on the, I need to bring it up now. On the general funds for Claudette and for Michael Penn.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at a 6-month Zoom link for Claudette at the total of $95.34.
Yes, right.
And I know the microphone is a separate issue, so I'm not even gonna look at that, but the reimbursement for Mike, that's for a whole year?
Yes,
No, it wasn't. I think it was for like 6, 8 months, wasn't it?
Annual.
No, mine was for a
Oh,
year.
yours was
Yeah,
for a year.
yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna take us until March of next year.
Mhm.
Excellent. That's all I wanted to know. If it was a full, it says it here, it's annual Zoom
Oh,
connection.
you know what you can't see where those 3 dots are,
Right,
the date.
right. So that's why I wanted to make sure that it was for a year. This one was for 6 months. That was my only question because of the difference in the amount. Claudette's was for 6 months and yours is for a year. So, and the microphone, I'm hearing good things. People can actually hear us, so thank you. It was a good investment.
Yes, it is. Everybody should-
But that's it. That's all I have. Yeah.
When she's done, Mike.
She did it on the lunches.
Oh, my goodness.
She brought them this time. All right, that's all I
Okay.
needed.
I have a
Thank
question,
you.
but I'm gonna let Mike. ask.
Hello?
What's your problem?
Hello? Can anyone hear
You
me?
go to the microphone, I can talk loud enough. there is a payment to $11,200.13 to Mr. Carrie Giannis.
Yes,
What happened?
I can answer that. My, he filed an appeal on his value of his property up here at the CVS, okay? And Right, yeah, and he won it, all right?
Okay,
But in the meantime, he paid his taxes before that.
He didn't win it, he settled it.
He settled it, whatever, well, it
It
was,
was a reduction in his assessment.
okay. And then the result was he paid his taxes and we have to give him a refund of that amount.
okay. Now, another thing I noticed, oh, so it's not just us.
Mike, do me a favor, identify yourself so you're on record, please.
Oh, okay, Mike Ozer, 39 Fairview Avenue, Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Also too, I went back into some of the old minutes, and specifically to one that was discussed here. The Mount Pocono police were paid $61,758.67, and I believe a motion was made and passed by council to pay them if the money is available.
Right.
So I'll wait for that, Danielle. Do we owe the police any more money?
Yes, we do. That was only for January, Mike. We owe them for February, March, to be current, and actually April, but we owe them 2 months yet.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Can I say something?
No.
I have, Danielle, I have something.
That's fine.
Danielle,
No, you can't, I'm teasing you.
what we used to get is a balance in each account as of March 31. This we have no idea what's in each account.
Yeah, we need to have it reconciled.
You can't do it there.
Yes, report.
When are you gonna, when will you have that? In February, in the middle meeting, in our work session meeting? Okay.
That's what I.
All right, It's true that it's quick. Okay, I'll agree with that, but if it was next week or night or something, you'd have an opportunity to do it. All right. Okay. You see the bills before you for the treasurer's report of April 5th. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the bills that were to be paid and have been paid for both the general account and the liquid fuel account. So we don't pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
As stated, you have no, do I have a second? All right, on the question, we already had that already, but that's beside the point. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
so carried. Thank you.
Aye.
Danielle.
Get Claudette's vote on Zoom.
Nope,
Let's see what she says. Everybody's in favor?
she's busy.
I object.
She objects.
Huh?
She objects, she
You
said.
want to pay the bill?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I was surprised. Yeah.
Okay, well,
She's not paying attention, she's
You
typing.
didn't want to do a roll call, you didn't accept?
we'll have a roll call vote. And we'll start off with Ada. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes,
Stacy?
Yes.
Okay.
Claudette.
No,
Claudette's-
Claudette?
no. No, no,
She there?
no. I vote no.
She said no.
No.
Ken did not have a
One,
Zoom
two,
link for the
three.
borough.
4. We
6 to 1.
know Ron.
Oh, Ron's not here.
Ron's not
Ron's on here is 5. Claudette's 6. Who's missing?
Ron,
Run.
5-1.
It's 5-1 to pay the bills. Motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to the next. I lost my thing. The zoning officer's report. Get in line, baby.
Good evening, council. In your packet, you actually have my full report, but I'll give you some of the highlights just because I want to make you aware, just in case you guys were also receiving complaints. I have received complaints for the last 2 weeks, actually, from residents in Summit Point, particularly on Summit Drive. regarding trash blowing off of the construction site. It was really windy, so kind of to be expected. However, they should be responsible for their own trash. So I contacted on the 30th, the superintendent for Cobalt. My recommendation was that they do routine, specifically I said daily checks. Just go up and down the street, make sure that there's no rubbish or debris that's blowing off the site. And I also requested that they re-secure the perimeter snow fencing that had gotten damaged over the winter. That would potentially help with some of that issue. And they did indicate that they would be doing it. We'll keep an eye on that. I received electronically on Friday the revised plans for Taco Bell to handle the dual drive-through lane. So the engineer and myself will be reviewing that. It didn't require any further review by the planning commission. I had actually, all of that was resolved prior to this with Mr. Kirkwood. Basically, it's the same plan. They're just going to put in a dual lane. So we just want to make sure from an engineering standpoint, everything jives. Let's see, what are some of the other highlights? Properties is moving along. I did actually have to deny a sign application that they put in. I did contact the owner that they applied for. I did contact the owner to discuss. Basically, the issue was that they were proposing a monument sign, but they were going to use that to also advertise the businesses. Per ordinance, the businesses, you can either have one freestanding sign and one wall sign, or two are building signs. Each one of the tenants, both Starbucks and Aspen Dental, elected to have the two signs on their building. The intent of the monument sign would be only to identify the planned commercial development. So they can, if they want to resubmit, put it in, I mean, they can name it something, but it should not be to additionally advertise the vendors there, just to identify the location. I'm still awaiting a coordination meeting with Cuba officials for lot 28, just to keep things moving along. It's been kind of rough the last couple of weeks just to coordinate everyone's schedule, but I still am actively trying to pursue that because I think that it's necessary, especially as pertains to the off-site improvements that were scoped, that are trying to be amended to potentially accommodate the connection to the Pine Hill intersection eventually. Short-term rentals, what can I say? The bane of my existence. I'm still trying to actively work on that issue. It is pretty problematic simply because there's not very many enforcement tools that I currently have for use. But we are actively tracking all of the activity that's there. We just need to figure out the best way to enforce it, especially at the ones that we already have pending litigation. I did conduct an interview with the Borough and Town newspaper regarding short-term rental activity issues and enforcement. They're kind of doing like a cover feature with all of the adjoining municipalities, just trying to, I guess, highlight or show like what the issues are and what kind of maybe some of the potential solutions could be. Inspections, I will make you aware that there is a new business that change of use at 3324, Route 940. It's a new non-medical home care business. So if you know anybody that's interested, please refer them. They are listed. It's I believe it's called Reliable Home Care Services. And one of the major issues I do want to highlight, because this is an ongoing thing, Mr. Peck of 34 Summit Drive contacted me again about the drainage issues on his property. This is something that I brought before council before. I even had our engineer come and out on site to try to assess what we could potentially do. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a financial issue, but they're really looking for the borough to do something. They've spent a lot of money on repairs of their driveway and foundation due to the impacts of, water runoff and things like that over the years. And they're very concerned about their investment moving forward. So on their behalf, they are requesting that council give an update on how the borough plans to address that matter. The only thing I can potentially offer is that maybe we can engage a road crew to see if there's something that they can do to at least, we might not be able to resolve their problem completely, but if there's something that we can do to mitigate the extensive damage that they're experiencing.
Alex,
Yes.
what did the engineer, borough engineer submit? What was his suggestion?
He submitted a report. Basically, he identified where he believed the water was coming from. It's basically half the roadway drainage and associated damage coming from the adjacent property. I think basically what he said was at one point there was a swale between the two properties, and also with the roadside drainage on the other side of the road, we addressed it years ago with swales and pipes. We never addressed the opposite side of the road. So basically what he was saying is something similar to what we did on the other side, we need to look to do on this side. But his conclusion was we need to find funding, because as far as he knows, there was nothing currently available for his.
Is that the property where I'll say where the driveway is lower than the road, the dirt or lawn on the other side, and also the outer road, Summit Road?
Yeah, well, their property in general is, the road slopes down from, if you're talking from Hirschland down Summit. So they're not quite at the bottom of everything. They're kind of in the middle. So everything kind of rushes past them. But the way things are situated, it kind of, like, instead of staying in the roadway, it's going into their property and staying there.
Because it's lower than the road.
Yeah, well, the road crew has tried to adjust it in the past by putting like asphalt, like speed humps along the road, but the amount of water inundates that particular.
I think it might be coming from the back of the house towards the road.
No, not the majority of it. It's basically the issue that they're concerning and across their driveway is coming from the roadway.
All right.
Okay. So moving forward, I just want to make council aware of that the resident is looking for some sort of update on how the borough intends to address it. Just some housekeeping things. Yay, we're finally on the cloud for a permit manager. The migration went pretty well. There is a learning curve. It's the same program, but it's slightly different as far as the interface is concerned, but we're working out the kinks. No formal training has been scheduled at this time. I don't think it's necessary, but potentially to know what all of the features are, I would recommend that staff engage in that. Finally finished the review of the draft codes for general code. So our ordinances, I just submitted it back to her, the release back to her today. So I'm anticipating that we will have the revised ordinances by the end of the month, if not the first week in May. And another great news, I can finally, since permit manager is there, found a feature to actually put our inspection data right into the system, because we couldn't find, if you were looking or searching to see, what inspections were done and what passed and what failed, we did not have access readily to that information. So now we will, because I will begin inputting it directly into the system. Working with the borough manager and municipal authority to confirm the amount of on-lot septic systems we still have in borough-wide think it's important. We don't really have a compiled list, and I think it would help, and we solicited the help of at least the municipal authority to identify who they have online. We'll kind of through the process of elimination and deciding who is not online.
Last year, there was a compiled list of all the on-lot septics.
Okay, well, I'm not aware of it, and no one in the
Well,
office currently.
Diana had it, she gave it to me,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, well, what I compiled is what our system shows now, so if, in
Right, but
response to the
I'm just
concern,
saying
it's
that
different.
there is a compiled list of someplace in the office on Diana's computer.
Gotcha, we look, I look, but
Okay,
I'll try to follow up with it, but we did not find
Okay.
that information. I'm also working with the, borough secretary to, figure out how to respond to the ongoing right to know request from, actually, I have here now it's Paul Scavello, but it was Gabe Scavello regarding lot 75 on Deerfield Drive. I just spoke today with President O'Boyle, so that we can try to contact the engineer that did design for, is RKIS, but did the design for the plaza, formerly known as the Kmart Plaza. And hopefully they would have some sort of plan or be able to point us to the direction of the plan that is being requested of us. Just to make council aware, because I hadn't done it because it came in through something else, but the county has transitioned a demolition grant into a rolling application format. It's available on a first come, first served basis. Municipality can receive one award, and current awards are up to $40,000 for a residential property and $100,000 for a commercial property. And before I get into the reminder about the conditional use hearing, there is something that was brought to my attention that we need to address at some point, and that's temporary storage containers. Our fee and how we attack it is pretty much, it seems to be, to me, directed towards commercial properties. So a residential property that wants to use something like a pod to temporarily store something would be required with our current fee schedule to pay upwards of, say, $300 to $400 on top of the cost of the storage container to satisfy their need. So my recommendation is similar to some of the other components that we did with the fee schedule, is maybe look to break it down to a difference between a commercial property and a residential property. And also, we're just looking forward to the website redesign so that we can get all of our ordinances that are going to be coming through and the applications that we're currently working on revamping up and ready, available for the public. And then, like I said, last but not least, the conditional use hearing for Clary's Properties is scheduled for April 12th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody have any questions for her? Go ahead.
I didn't see an email that came to us about the short-term rentals. Did you get something out?
I did.
Okay, are we doing anything, or anybody answering him?
I actually, the individuals that sent that email, I'm actually in daily contact with all of them. Again, the reason why I adjusted is because some of the issue is that we don't have anything available to help with the enforcement issues that we're being faced with.
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead.
Alexa,
Hold on,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Oh.
I just have one more question.
Wait a minute, Patty had a question.
Yeah, I wasn't done. And also, I wasn't aware that employees were able to speak to the newspaper. I thought we were, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that we had a spokesperson
We
for the
do.
borough.
And the gentleman that I appointed is Mike Pettit.
Okay, so.
He's the one and only that should be talking to the reporters or whatever it is, rather than getting 10 views from each individual.
Okay, so the employees need to know that. And then.
Okay, I was gonna say, I wasn't aware of it. I've actually conducted 3 interviews at this point. They're all just zoning related questions as to, what we have in the Bronx.
And then my last thing is, I know since we lost, your partner, Lauren.
Yeah.
Are you able to do code enforcement? Are you able to go through the borough?
I do code enforcement quite often, and I also have help from many council members on our road crew, identifying different, but yes, I do.
So we are
I do.
following up on those.
Yes, we are.
Okay, that's it.
Tom, you had some?
Yeah, Patty asked my question about this. I'm sure you weren't aware that we have a spokesman for any type of media and such, so we have, and that's our fault, council, for not bringing it out to the new employees and such. So that being said, that is the ordinance or the rule right now. And my question is to president or mayor, what do the employees say to these people that want to interview them?
What employees are you talking about?
Any employee of the borough.
We technically, we are employees. I mean, you can't have 10 voices going to.
Well,
No,
my question
just
is,
tell
what
them
do they
just
say to the media? No
Tell them they
comment?
have to speak to the mayor.
Okay, that's all.
That's all you gotta do.
You understand?
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
fine. I was
Okay.
not aware of that. That's what I was saying. I only directed.
Yeah, I
my
understand that, but
questions
I want to give you the answer to the media, speak to our spokesman, the mayor.
Okay, understood.
Thank you very much, it was a great
Ada?
report.
Thank you.
Okay,
This is a very odd topic in regards to this specific, because if I'm correct, you're talking about Mr. Ford.
Oh, yes.
And Mr. Ford is also a resident of the borough and has every right to call the zoning office to ask specific zoning questions. Now, if he's approaching you as media, saying, I want to interview you for this, that's when you have to then refer him to both the mayor or president of council. But if he's reaching out to you as a resident, then you have to answer those questions.
Yeah, but it says.
as long
in
as
the
she's
report.
within her job, there's no problem with it.
Right, that's what I'm
talking
saying.
about, let's say me,
But in
Talking
this
to the-
specific
in
situation.
fact, I had some lady by the name of Fran, and last name was Francis, the one in, I went through that. I mean, when you talk to them like that, and then you look at in the paper what they said, you don't even know who, if they're talking about the same place, trust me.
Right,
Joint
but if it's
crowd.
a resident, then a resident has the right to ask questions, but if they're approaching you as a medium person, they have to be referred to the mayor or
Does it-
borough council.
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, no, you go
Let
ahead.
me say, and I don't want to leave Alexis hanging out to dry. It was not her fault. I'll definitely take the blame of that, because I get numerous emails from council members, from people in the public, from a lot of people. In the media, we do direct to the mayor. I think this was a question that had come from Tom Ford about short-term rentals, and it wasn't something that I could answer, so I had referred him to, I connected him to Alexis just as an oversight, like, can you answer this question? And so that's kind of where that came from. So that's not her fault, that's everyone.
Oh, no, it's council's fault for not informing the employees of what the procedure is.
Sure.
I take the fall, I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just want to bring it for future reference. But my question to Ada or yourself, if I call you and start talking about other residents, do you give me that information?
About other residents?
Yeah,
No.
no, I'm just asking you, I don't know.
No.
What are you talking about?
And-
Is it something
and
to
the-
do with
and the
her
line of
job?
questions I was
What?
asking
Is it
would
something
be
to do with her
the
job?
same as if
Yeah,
you were-
say-
Well, she has to do her job, so if you ask a question, she should give you the answer. I'm talking about a situation that happened here, which it did happen, and Mike answered, she was the one on the phone to do it. It had nothing to do with anybody's individual job. Right?
Yeah.
It was just something that, they were looking for an answer.
You understand what I'm talking about. Thank you.
I definitely understand.
Thank you,
That's
Alexa.
fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there's questions on.
Yeah, I have a question, Jim. Short-term rental.
Okay, we're in the middle.
Okay.
But there's a
all right.
question
You're-
on,
You're up, you're up,
Yeah,
Jim.
council
Go ahead.
after.
I apologize for yelling.
That's okay. You're
It
allowed.
needs to be done sometime.
Other questions about?
Well, somebody wanted recording privileges. I didn't know if they got that.
I did, yeah.
There's a couple of different things, Jim, I wanted to ask you real quick. because we're on Zoom as well as being here live, when there's questions being asked on Zoom, do we need to have them brought to council, like out at that time, or like, how does that need to be?
Questions?
If it's in the question, we should, yeah.
Yeah, if it's in the question.
Well, there's just, in the Zoom itself, I'm seeing that there is a bunch of different conversations and somebody's responding, and I don't know who's responding as the borough.
I am. That's this computer.
Okay, so can you bring, well, because I.
There's just one question that just came up.
But can we just bring them up here before you answer them so that we know what's going on?
No, Ada, there's nothing. There are people in the waiting room. Can someone let them in? Can I get recording privileges, please? I answered Claudette in one.
What was Claudette's question that you answered? Because I can't scroll, I'm not on Zoom, I'm just.
You want me to read Claudette's whole comment?
Well, if it's on Zoom, it's a public meeting,
Okay,
we should know
well,
what's
okay.
going on.
No, I'll gladly do that. Because
She's a council member.
yeah, it was misrepresentation, so I'll be happy to do that. I'm looking for it here. Penn did not have a Zoom link for the borough.
Listen.
Can you listen? Penn did not have a Zoom link for the borough that the borough used. If he had one, the borough did not use it. I answered Clut, and she had actually made a comment before that too, similarly. Penn did not have Zoom link for the borough. So I said, Claudia, as you know, but continue to misrepresent on here with a lot, you would not allow the borough to use your Zoom account after you were removed as president. I was asked to subscribe to Zoom by Joshua on behalf of the borough. I did so. I also stated that as soon as the borough's new credit card arrived, we would change the subscription to the new borough card. And Claudette responded, okay.
Right, and we went over that in the bill, so you
Right,
paid for
right.
a full year, and it was
Yeah.
up until March of next
It was
year.
done.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make a short comment to Josh, is that during the minutes, if the people from the audience speak without identifying themselves, they're not part of the minutes, they're not on the record. Okay, they have to be identifying themselves to be in the records.
That was my error, okay?
Sure.
All right, are we through? Jim's got, are you done, Jim?
Short-term rental. Short-term rental.
Go ahead, let me do it.
Let me speak to short-term rentals for a minute. There's two lawsuits, as you know, that we filed. One is for 10 Shelley Lane, and the other one is for 1 Summit. And with regard, I saw the emails this weekend of the upset, rightly so, resident. 10 Shelley Lane, I'm taking the deposition of the owner on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. And after that deposition is taken, I'll be in a position to ask for a hearing. The 1 Summit Drive, that's the Chatham property. It's a little bit more complicated, as I've reported before, because it was a zoning hearing board decision. It was not appealed. It said it was a lawful non-conforming use, and the lawyer is saying that the borough doesn't have any right to stop a short-term rental there, and in fact is threatening the borough with the legal fees and lawsuits if we continue to pursue the matter. Notwithstanding that, I am going to file a motion with the court. I sent the lawyer a request for information about the rentals that he is engaged in, and the agreements and the advertising and so forth, and the lawyer refused to give that to me, saying he didn't have the right to get that. So I'm going to file a motion with the judge, asking the judge to order him to produce those documents. And in the context of determining whether or not he's obligated to produce those documents, the judge will by necessity determine this issue of whether or not the prior decision of the zoning hearing board bars us from enforcing the short-term rental ordinance on this property. So these things are moving forward. I apologize that they have not come to the fore sooner, but they are moving forward. And with regard to Alexis's comment about the limited remedies that she has to enforce short-term rental, what I would propose that I and Alexis have a conference where we discuss that specifically and come up with a strategy to attack the unlawful short-term rentals. I have some ideas, and I will, within the next 10 days or so, Alexis and I can sit down and go over those things.
Please do, Jim. We appreciate it. Jim, I think you ought to check the addresses that you, Chad is on Shelley Lane, the other one.
Did I mix them up?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, you mixed them up. One Summit is the one that I think you
Okay,
filed something against. Chad is the original.
they're both filed, because I'm following. both.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Chad is on Shelley Lane,
Got it, okay.
Summit's on the other.
I
All right.
stand corrected, thank you. I
Okay,
have nothing further. I apologize for having such a short report. That was a joke.
That was a pleasure.
I got it.
okay, we're gonna move on the persons to be heard, the Mount Pocono Association. Are you it?
A new tax collector.
I'm here representing Mount Pocono Association, and we've decided to have a June, down in the casino theater, we're gonna have the people come and have vendors. Just, it's like different than the fall festival. It's gonna be smaller, just different tents, and people come, but it'll just be a small area, and it won't impact on the roads. So it's going to be June 5th, and it will be from 11 to 4 p.m.
What day of the week?
He's in.
Saturday.
Does that require like vendor fees, or is it just an event you're holding on your property?
Okay,
It's for, it's for the businesses in town.
Just the local
Right,
business,
right.
okay,
Mount
thank you.
Pocono Association.
you told us before they were gonna have it, but you didn't know the
I
date.
can't hear.
I'm sorry. You told us, Karen, you told us that you were gonna have it, but you didn't know the exact dates before you told us you were gonna have
I
it.
can't.
He said you told us before, but you didn't have the exact date.
No,
Right, so now.
Okay, that's what-
this is a separate one, right?
No, it's the same one. Is it the
No.
same one or is it a different one?
Yeah.
Same one or a different one?
We're gonna have the Harvest Fest and this
So
is
we have,
different.
this is,
No, they're having the Harvest Fest in this, right?
yeah, the Harvest Fest will still have in the fall.
Right.
But this is just, like a smaller, it's
Right.
gonna be in the casino
Okay.
parking lot, and, there's gonna be vendors, and it's all Mount Pocono. The vendors will be the people from our association.
Right, okay.
It's not outside people coming.
Yeah, and it doesn't impact traffic or
All
anything,
right.
so we don't have to go through that, or we don't have to have security guards. Just,
So Karen, you say the members of the association, you have some members that are outside the Mount Pocono Borough, right? Business people?
yeah, we have some.
So they'll be there too then?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
anybody who is a member of Mount Pocono Association, they will be able to take part of this.
Right, right. And this is just, you just starting this up or you had it going for a while? My question is because do you have any idea how many people might be there?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because we have to put out, this is the first time we've done. this,
Right,
so
I
it's
understand
going to-
that.
We expect it to be smaller and grow,
Right,
but we're gonna have, all the people who are from the association that are members, they're going to be people, they can or cannot choose to do it, but I think most of our people do it.
so I would imagine you need us to waive the vending fees on you.
We would appreciate that very much.
Okay.
I think we did
So
before.
if you want to.
No, that was for
That was
the
For the
Oktoberfest.
All right, you didn't know the date, so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to waive the fees for the June 5th Community Day for the businesses of Mount Pocono Borough.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Any questions?
Aye.
All in favor, somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sign me up for.
Nothing yet.
She voted, can't hear me.
Well, she wrote hi. Is that a yes? Yes.
Okay.
So yes.
It's,
6.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
all in favor?
Come and visit us that day.
Okay.
I want a spot.
Karen, is this is the same event that was initially planned last year, but with COVID? Is that right? You were talking, not planned, but talking, yeah.
We didn't even have the fall, yeah.
Right.
Are you gonna have a max plan for this year, the amount of vendors?
Well, now that I have this information, I'll be able to go back and talk to everyone in our association and talk to them about how many spots. And of course, my husband will be blocking off spaces so we can decide, there's only gonna be so many spaces, because it's only small.
Right.
Just the parking lot.
Right, and the parking's gonna be in your parking lot too, right? You or no?
It's just a parking lot.
No, but the parking for the people that come and
They'll
visit,
be on the street.
they'll be out in the
No,
street,
street
okay,
parking.
okay.
Right.
And behind Vinny and
Yeah,
all
we
that,
want to make, I don't know.
behind the fall.
Yeah, but we want to make sure this is for our town and the vendors in town. You know.
Right, but you're gonna have customers, a lot more customers than you normally do.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm sure people always seem to find a way to get parking.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand.
Tom, the details will be worked out between you.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious.
Let's move on.
I'm more than happy to explain it if there's something I don't know.
No,
or if we have a discussion, I'll let you know.
I meant to make your meeting and I forgot all about you guys changing meetings every, for 1 week.
Well, it's been,
Okay.
COVID hasn't been friendly.
I know.
So we decided to do things, you know. We're
On the
still
spur.
trying to have some normality, but, you know.
I'm glad it's still in existence and you guys are going
All
forward.
of you, lovely to see all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Fine, thank you. Okay, unfinished business. You have a website update, Mike?
Oh, website update. I'm looking.
What?
Borough manager on.
I think we were going to table that one.
We table that. We're going to the 14th, or the 40 days that are left here. The website update.
Yes, the new web developer's coming in tomorrow to start everything there. So we'll start mapping out the navigation pages and menu and so on. So more to come.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, the time clock discussion, we'll do that at the work session. We did,
I'm sorry, before we move on to past the website, I just wanted to make you aware that there was an issue that the municipal authority made us aware of, that, or made me aware of, because people are trying to pay their bills, but our website is dysfunctional.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
Still?
No, our website is down. I mean, it was compromised.
I know
Yeah.
mine went to like Yahoo Japan, but.
Mhm.
So it's an issue. I was just wondering if we can just, like put it like under construction or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Just so that people are aware that there's, that it's just not active.
Yeah.
Instead of like
Can
how.
you take care of that?
I'll look into it. The problem was gaining access to it, but yeah.
Yeah, but we got Chris.
Mike
Wallace
will
on that.
look
Yeah.
into that to see if he can put that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So how long is the site going to be down for where
So
we can't pay their bills?
did council discuss this previously? I thought so.
He has 60 days for the completion. And
No. Website. So correct me if I'm wrong. I thought council discussed this before, but so the website was compromised. If you were to Google it, for example, you get a bunch of characters, foreign language characters. And so instead of putting it up and spending money, because we'd have to pay someone $125 an hour to kind of come in and access that and fix it. Since we're doing a new one, I thought we were putting that on hold. Is that
No, that was
correct?
the meeting between Josh and us. I
Was
think.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't hear anything
Okay.
about that. I didn't know
Okay.
that our website was down.
Yeah. No, I brought it up at a meeting.
It's not
Yeah.
down- It wasn't down at that point, it was just.
It was down at the March 4th meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
at the March
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah. It was, in fact, I think it was that day that I got in Josh.
So bottom line, Mayor, is what about the website?
Well, let council decide what you want to do, but
So we haven't had a website since March 4th?
no.
Now, in
And
the
so people
newsletter,
can't pay their sewer bill?
Well, they can go to the authority.
Sewer has their own.
Well, they have to be able to link on our.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
how I pay my
But they still have their own site, so you can go directly to their site.
No, they
Just
don't.
not.
Yes, they do.
Not, no, they do not.
My hose is right there,
Everybody
that's
pays their
it.
sewer bills from that little link on the borough page. So that means nobody can pay their bill.
I pay mine online. If you just, I don't know if you have the link or not to the, what's it called, Mike? The Munit, what's it?
EV2.gov.
No, Munilink, is it?
Unilink.
Yeah, Munilink. I don't know if you have the link to that or not, but that's where I pay mine through. But the issue is, you're right, there's a problem with our website. And so let council decide what you want to do with it. Josh and I were made aware on March 4th that it was down. So, and I brought it up. Yes, and I brought it up.
To cost increase and that it will expire December 31st, 2022.
Okay, but I don't think we can get it.
Okay, so we just need to switch that to December 31st, 2021.
My suggestion is make 2 copies.
I have a few copies here.
Okay, but then sign them, send them to them, and then they'll sign them, and then let them retain one set of copies signed by both people and the other one back to us.
So the way this is perfect. We just need to.
Wait, are you sure? Because I was.
It needs to be.
It's not, it needs
First of all, you should have a header. Who's it going to? I'm sorry. Sorry.
And we're
We're not actually extending it, we're taking the option, so.
Yeah, we're
Well,
sending
yeah,
it for the 1
somebody
year.
said it for 1 more year. Well,
Right.
somebody said it drafted it to me, so I don't know.
There you go.
Okay, that's wonderful. Jim, we'll make it draft, and send it up to us.
As far as somebody, is the mayor saying that? Or am I saying? I'm just trying to get some clarification.
I have the letter in front of me. I'll make adjustments here. If you don't mind, I can send it to you for you to forward it to the Jim.
Why don't you send it to Jim and
Thank you.
CC or either way?
Right, get his blessing on it. They're accepting it now, so all we need is something.
That's fine. Thank you.
Sign up to both of them.
Okay, phone proposal is the work session, new building code policy, we discussed the work session. Reminder, we have, wireless conditional use hearing on April 12th at 6 p.m. at the Borough Building here. I think that's the end of.
I got another thing.
I got another page, I know that, but okay, now we, in new business. First item here is a motion to hire the new road crew employee. Proposed to start at $18 per hour, starting April 19, 2021. I don't know
He's
whether
not
that's
here
correct, whether he can-
Mike?
He was here.
He's here.
Oh, yeah.
He was here. I heard he had a family emergency.
You talked to him already?
Sorry?
I talked to him?
I had no interaction. I heard that he had a family emergency. He had to leave.
Which
Okay.
one was it?
That was
I have no idea. Nick, yeah.
That was Nick. But I think, we can't keep going Milan, it's a little, it's so fun.
No, I didn't make a motion to hire him, I don't know.
Okay.
I said we named it the work session.
What's that?
Wait 2 weeks to the work session, so we can be here.
Yeah, but he-
But then it's gonna
No,
give it 2 more weeks, because we got a little.
And then we're down to
so
Scott.
now we're talking May.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to hire Nick. Fine, thank you.
At $18 per hour.
$18 per hour for the road crew. I don't know if he can exactly start on the 19th because he needs to give
But we'll have to find
notice.
out.
And we didn't tell him this yet.
And we can provide it, well, you just say, in advising you, when you have to start. I mean, we can wait a couple more days.
Right, well, he needs 2 weeks notice. He had asked for that and I think. So I made
Just
a
address
motion.
it to
I'll
Now
send
the signature form just be accepted by, so we can get their signatures on here.
Okay.
Yes,
Mike Ozer, 39 Fairview Avenue. Tommy, in reference to your question, I checked Nick in. He was here at 6:30. He said he wanted to arrive early. Basically, about 7:15 or so. Well, before I came in, he was leaving. I said, "You want to go now?" He says, "I have a family emergency. I have to leave right now. I can't wait."
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's smart.
okay, but we made the motion. You have a second? Anybody have any questions?
Is he still gonna be here for the work session for us to?
You can invite him.
We can invite him.
I'd like to. Or
I don't think somebody's.
Patty's first.
We're making it.
Who's second?
I'm sure we're gonna have 2 weeks that that he's gonna give us lawyer. And we'll have a work session meeting. All right? Okay, all in favor, say by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
I,
Okay.
yeah, I wanna be, I don't wanna,
No, we'll send,
no, I oppose.
All right.
What are we voting on?
What's called it? Be in favor or not?
I'm relying on my,
You
personnel.
you in favor?
I have no idea what we
Did that
voted
before
on.
and got us in trouble, so I would like to be, that was my
I have no problem with that, even.
Could you type yes or no? Sound's not coming through. We're voting on the road crew, Nick Simon, employee.
yes.
Yeah.
We're voting on the road crew, Nick Simon, employee. to replace parentheses.
We need a motion for that, to approve April 24th as this year's annual Joe Batisco's cleanup day in Mount Pocono.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, but we never made a motion for it.
What?
I talked about it.
We talked about it, we didn't make a motion.
No.
I'll make a motion to approve April 24th, 2021 as this year's annual Joe Batisco's cleanup day, Mount Pocono, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Tom made the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Patty, on the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right?
Ada?
Yeah.
Everybody, all of us?
Claudette, yes.
Claudette, yes,
All right.
all right.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Another motion to send a letter to support the BWA grant
For the Natural Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Projected headwaters to provide planning, outreach, and demonstration projects to promote green stormwater infrastructure in the borough.
I made that motion. I'll second
Made
it.
the motion, Ada seconded, on the question. Yes, Mike.
This time I'm gonna come up to the microphone and speak as the chairman of the Mount Pocono Municipal Authority. This motion and with this plan, it may sound good now, but this is a prelude for the stormwater management to throw the borough of Mount Pocono into the MS4. MS4 is managing stormwater. That means it will not go through the creeks, the streams, or whatever that it is right now. It has to be treated. The municipal authority right now, if you're gonna pump all that waste, which is the stormwater from the roads and all that into the sewer plant, it cannot handle that.
Yeah.
It cannot handle that right now. That would mean that when this comes through as an MS4, which this could possibly be a prelude to that, this borough council is gonna be responsible for the dispersal of that fluid, whether it be another sewer treatment plant that has to be built, or whether it has to be piped off, put in cisterns, or whatever. It's not just the thought of preserving the natural surroundings around here. There's a lot of information that has to go into the MS4 planning, especially for this borough and where we sit. So I want you to be very careful in what you're planning to do for the BWA and for the National Fish and all that. It's a good idea to keep the streams clean and all that, but if those streams cleaning, or keeping the streams clean, or upgrading the streams to a higher classification, that means this borough is going to be in trouble for how to get rid of the effluent that's there already, and also going to be in trouble about how to keep the stormwater management in a manageable form. And that would mean that possibly there would be no more development in this borough, period. Because there's nowhere to go with the sewer treatment. You can't throw it, you cannot.
You're only allowed 400,000 gallons right now.
That's right,
so
and you
that's gonna
can't,
exceed
that's
right
right,
after
and
that.
there are times when, right now, we get 400,000 gallons additional flow would just be leakage that we have into the system itself, which we're trying to correct.
So how are they planning to, and this is just
They don't.
my naivety, the surrounding areas that do not have treatment plants like we do, how do they plan on managing the stormwater elsewhere?
So we should back up first though, before, Mike, I talked to Ed Overberger, the authority's engineer, extensively for about an hour and a half about this, because I had the same concerns. And I really wanted to vet it with him, and then also with John Klotz, the executive director. And they were both okay with a letter of support, just as a statement. So the issue is, my concern was that too. Is there any way this backs us up into MS4? And it doesn't. There's no way. So that's a federal mandate. It's been postponed 10 years at this point. There's no way BWA could get us into an MS4 arrangement. All they want to do is come in and start making people aware what stormwater does. And they want to set up a couple infrastructure projects to collect it, and in no way get us into MS4.
So you've already personally, as the mayor, sent them a letter of support?
I have, yes, yeah.
And do we not think that that's enough? They want the borough as well?
They're asking for the borough. I mean, that's my personal, but they're asking for a letter of support from council as well. I really wanted, I mean, seriously, I had the same concerns as Mike about getting us into something that, could potentially.
The constructions and issues that being on the board with them in the past, I know the level of stress that plant is already under.
Well, it has nothing to do with the plant, putting anything in the plant right now. So,
not right now.
or in the future.
Yes, but see, here's the issue.
Is that guaranteed, Mike?
Yeah, from BWA,
It's
nothing.
guaranteed.
From BWA, nothing. They can't put us into MS4.
Maybe if we want to send them a letter,
Get that in writing?
provisions there. Number one, that
Yeah,
it
it's a
doesn't
law,
cost the borough or the authority any additional funds. And number two, what could then number two be? That would be one thing.
Right, but we
And
had
and number
sitting
two
on
is that it does not run through our plant whatsoever.
Sitting on that board, we had a lot of missteps that we were dealing with that were decisions made in the past, that they did not look forward to the future of the what ifs and could be's, that we then had major construction to have to deal with because of those unprojected, unforeseen possibilities. Mr. Oster is bringing us an opportunity to foresee a plausible issue that may cause us.
I think what you should do then, I think you should, maybe Ed would come in and talk about that, or you could call him. I did my due diligence in calling, and I was convinced that it's not an issue. Ed was comfortable with the letter of support, and so was Jonathan.
Right, I'm just hearing about this as a council member today.
Which is why I'm saying.
So I don't, if you want to bring him here to confirm that we should provide that.
No, it's not up to me. I think it's council's. I've done my part.
Like myself, I'm uncomfortable giving a letter of support to something that could cripple our ability to expand in the future. Even if it's a slight possibility, I'm uncomfortable providing a letter of support.
The thing is, Edie Stevens called me, looking for me to give her a yes or no. But if she doesn't get the municipal authority's approval or and us both, they're SOL.
That's not my problem. I'm
If
responsible for my
you
one vote.
open the door, they're gonna get in.
Do they have
Right,
any?
so I'm responsible for my one vote, and based on the information that I'm being provided by the one person that I trust with the information being provided on this topic, I am a no. However, if they want to provide someone to give us additional information, then at our next meeting, I will reconsider. But today, my answer
Why
is
don't
no.
we just tell them that we need an additional police supply representative to explain to us.
My question.
I tell you what, let me, as a member of the municipal authority board, Mike, do you have the letter that you drafted?
I do, yeah,
Can
right.
will you send that to me?
I'll send that, to you, to anyone, yeah.
Send it to me, send it to me and Jonathan,
Okay,
being that he's the executive director. What I'll do is I'll take it from there. And then from there, get with Ed Overberger. And then from there, we'll have a discussion and possibly ask Ed, because he is, and we also have a water engineer too, that
Right.
Arrow Consulting actually has a water engineer.
Right.
That can be on staff, that's on staff, that we have access to. That we'll make it a possibility to be up here. And actually have him here to describe what's going on, that we can delay all the issues that I've just brought up for the future.
Right.
Since I've been involved with MS4, sitting on this board years ago to now. And I see the damage that it can do, especially here for the borough with the economic situation here.
Yeah.
So, and is there a time limit on this letter?
I believe the grant deadline was already, and I think she just wants additional letters of support to submit post facto, but
Can you contact Edie Stevens?
I'm in contact with her every now and then. I have her telephone
Well,
number.
call her and we'll take no action. Is everybody in favor of not taking any action?
Yeah, they removed the motion.
I'll tell you one thing, the situation that we're in, whatever it was, I mean, we were meeting all our criteria, the only one that we weren't meeting was temperature. And so what they have to do, they have coolers in there now, right?
Mr. President, those coolers are costing the borough, the municipal.
A lot of money. First they cost a lot.
$15,000 a month.
Yeah, first it was the units and stuff, but now you gotta run them and keep them clean and everything else like that.
And basically.
I hate to
right-
tell you what she told me, that's, what she had in our conversation.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I hate to tell you what she told me in our, conversation.
Well, I'll tell you, we've had other conversations as well.
Well,
But yes, that chiller
okay,
fee.
we're not gonna take any action. Everybody's in favor of that?
I removed my second to the motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
My motion.
First, okay, no action taken. The motion was rescinded. Okay, the next one is a motion to hire a court stenographer to transcribe the audio files from the March 4th, 2021 meeting.
I'll make that motion to hire a court stenographer to transcribe the audio file from March 24, 2021 meeting.
I'll second that.
Regular moved in second. On the question.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ordinarily, when we get our minutes for meetings, it is usually a draft of motions and things that have taken place business-wise. All the side conversations are usually not added. However, asking for a court stenographer is going to give us every single word. What is the cost that this is going to cost the borough, and what is the point?
I guess. As I understand, the point is that the minutes do not reflect what was really covered at the meeting. That's
Well, the
what it
only
is.
thing that the minutes need to cover are motions and actions taken. So I know that that's not
Wait a minute, it
covered.
covers- it covers
Let me finish.
verbal statements too.
Right, but those statements, just like statements that have been made here today, are not normally covered in minutes. Those are, I guess, filler or whatever you call it. They're not required, like they're discussions. So all the discussions that we have in between motions are never put in the minutes. It's the motion, the person who seconded it, and the results of that motion. All the extras are unnecessary. So what is it costing the borough for us to get a play-by-play, word-by-word
I don't think
transcript
it
of
is.
this meeting? And what purpose is that being used for?
I don't know what the cost is, but I know the purpose is that I want to know if that was said that supposedly came out of me and Patty's mouths.
So can we not just ask for you to get a audio file of it and have under a right to know request and just have that and you can listen to it for yourself?
Can I speak on this?
Go ahead.
Because of the controversy and the previous conversation, I'm certainly not in favor of transcribing minutes on a regular basis. But in this particular instance, and having attended that meeting, I don't think it's a bad idea. And it's possible, once you get that transcript, you may be able to do minutes from the transcript that reflect exactly what you said. that there's so much controversy about this is gonna be the only way to put it to bed, and the stenographers will charge, there'll be a charge, they charge per page, and there'll be a charge, but in order to get over this issue and this point of contention among the council, I think you ought to do it.
If you'd like to do like a not to exceed cost, I called a stenographer and it's $3.65 a page. And then yeah. And then about 45 an hour, it'll amount to about $500.
Yeah.
So if you said not to exceed 600, 650, I don't know, well, whatever.
So we're spending $500 to settle pettiness.
Whoa, this is not pettiness.
Excuse me.
No, this is not pettiness.
Can I finish?
Wait a minute,
Do
come on,
not
Heather.
attack me for my decisions. and
I
my
don't
thoughts.
attack you.
Tom.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ada.
Okay? What's going on as an outsider looking in is petty, okay? Accusations were made, you know they're not true, you know they're not true, so to act on it just gives it validity. Let me finish. So for me, yes, I understand that there are accusations being made and people's reputations are at stake. I was attacked so many times on Facebook by people, it doesn't make it true.
Listen.
Bottom line is, you want to spend the $500, you spend the $500, the taxpayers.
I'll spend more than $500, but I'm asking the council to do it because we have an employee that put it in there. It ain't Facebook. This is the municipal building of Mount Pocono Borough, and it was falsely put in there. I want proof of it. It's plain and simple. And it was, what's the word?
And a right to know would not be enough.
Defamatory toward me and Patty by putting that in there.
But the right to know would not give you that proof that you're looking for?
It went out to the public. So if you're.
These are unapproved minutes.
Yeah, but they still went out to the public.
It says draft across all of them.
Not the first one, it
Not
didn't.
the first one it didn't, but regardless whether it's a draft or not, Mom classified as well as him as a racist. I have a problem with that. I take pride in myself not being a racist. So for that reason, I would like to.
And I'm sure if it happened to you, you'd be on the
Oh, it
same
has
boat.
happened to me.
No, in this building, on this committee.
I mean, there's so many different things that go on.
Okay.
I don't care about the streets.
Let's make our decision one way or the other. I mean, we're talking, we'll set a limit of.
Call the question, let her vote on it.
I'm sorry, what did you?
I said, call the question and let everybody vote on it. You could spend this.
Right. We had a first and a second. Okay, the motion was to hire a lifetime.
To hire
Hire a
courts.
court stenographer to transcribe the audio file from the March 4th, 2011 meeting. That's the motion.
221.
To 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You're opposed to it? What's
Claudette,
comment?
Claudette's no.
She's a no too? So it's 1, 2, 3 against 3.
So that's me?
You're.
Yes.
So it's 3 to 3. The mayor makes the decision.
Yes.
You're a yes, motion carried. Okay,
Can I have a quick question, just a point of clarification on that? So how can I best fulfill the right to know request? There's one outstanding right to know request is due soon for a copy of that. There's 2 more that just came in tonight to get copies of that audio file. How best can I fulfill those requests?
I'm
He
sorry.
doesn't have the audio file anymore, so how does he fill the request on the right to know?
I have 3 right to know requests.
He- So that you can invoke the 30 days,
Well, so I
But-
can for the
but-
2 that came in tonight.
right? But you can get a copy of the file. I can give you a copy of the file, but we have to get it converted to an audio file first, as opposed to a
I
cassette.
think, Mike, you ought to be able to have it so you can respond to the right to know.
Okay.
Whatever logistically has to be done to do that.
I can hear you.
I said, whatever logistically has to be done for you to get the audio file should be done so you can respond to the right to know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming it could be replicated so that the court reporter could get one and you could have one.
Yeah.
All right,
We have to figure that out though, because it has to be digitized, so,
don't ask me about that.
yeah.
And just in addition,
That's part of the issue.
In addition, so the other audio tape that's missing is the planning commission from the planning commission night. Is that one also?
They were both together, yeah.
Okay. So is that also being
No.
transcribed or
No,
you
just
That-
keep it-
That's just with it.
And Joshua, can
Josh,
the
give
council
with-
have a
give with
copy of
Mike
the right
and-
to knows on the email, please?
Of course, yeah.
Okay,
Timely manner.
the motion was made and it was carried, so we must follow through with it. All right, the next motion we need is to accept the resignations of Robert Stank from the Park and Rec and to advertise the vacancy. That should be easy.
I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
Patty's making a motion to accept his resignation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Tom seconded it. On the question. He's not in the area anymore or whatever. He said he hasn't been for 3 years, so I guess it's a legal question.
I was going to say, who is he?
That's what I said.
I think what I said kind of answers what you were looking for. All right, so no questions, let's have a vote. All in favor of accepting his resignation?
Aye. How about Claudette?
How about Claudette?
Yes. Just want to
Yes?
check the timestamp. Yeah, yes.
Okay, everybody said aye, there's no, fine, this is, okay, one letter of interest received so far for the vacancy board, Matt Hensel.
There was one other
More to
person,
come.
there's one other person who last week expressed interest but hasn't said anything, so whatever council wants to do with that.
Let me tell you something, I think this particular position was used once in 30
Yeah,
years.
I agree. Yeah.
And, my recommendation was whoever is interested, accept him, because you'll probably never be up here.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Is there a deadline that we're accepting interest in, or are we just gonna?
Well, it's a position that I think Matt can handle. I mean, all he has.
It's a tiebreaker. I know what it is. I'm just
Yeah,
asking
right,
whether or not
right. He-
there's
and
a
he-
time
In
limit.
fact, the chairman of that particular committee picks the one that he wants. And then he makes the final motion.
And how long term is this?
Forever.
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 The individual's on it for 30 years, so you figure the term.
I say we wait for more people.
More what?
People.
Oh, my heaven. Come on, Tom.
Matt quit 3 times on council.
Well, if he quits, then you start over again. You're not gonna use them, we haven't used, we used them once since I've been around. Okay, let's vote on the motion. Everybody?
Nobody
Nobody made a
Nobody made the
motion.
motion.
I thought that was just a statement
No,
because
no.
it's followed by more to come.
Right.
So I'm
Well, I
looking
don't
at
think
it
we're gonna wait for more to come, just whatever.
Did you say you have
We need a
another?
motion.
There was one person who said,
You
there
have
was,
another one?
there was one person, but I mean, he didn't send a letter yet,
Send the
so
letter or not.
it's up to
Who
council.
wants to make the motion? Anybody?
No, not I.
No motion? Move on, that's it. But public participation.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
That wanted to be heard, and I'm wondering whether or not. she
Wait,
wants-
wait a minute.
Well,
or-
yeah, she probably would have to do better.
Yeah,
We
but we
can't,
can't
go
hear
ahead,
anything.
Wait a second. Let's back up. I just want to, I didn't see this, but Claudette made a motion to appoint Matt for the position
what?
Well, I made a motion to.
Are we talking?
for the vacancy board.
Oh, okay. Do I have a second to it? We have to. Nobody wants a second?
Nope.
Well, tell Claudette we're very sorry, but we failed to get a second, so there's no
Okay.
motion.
Can I just get a point of clarification from, on item E? With the language of the motion was just to accept the resignation, did we also include, I know it's written there, but did we also state that it's also to advertise the vacancy? Was that implied?
Yes, yes, the two of them.
All right,
It wasn't said in the motion.
Yeah, I don't think it was stated.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed it there. Yeah, I read
Jim,
it. I told you.
Jim.
True, yeah, that's true.
Jim, do we normally
To make
advertise
it, To accept it and advertise for a vacancy.
for committees and,
Okay, it carried anyhow. so.
Actually, when it's done in the past, usually it's done in groups, and not to spend money.
yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I would just
Just,
make it, put it in the newsletter or something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't think it, yeah, I agree with that.
yeah.
Uh,
So we don't put it in the paper, just throw it on the newsletter. for
Right,
next
that's
month.
word of mouth.
Okay,
Let me ask one question. Is there anybody that's like an alternate for the Park and Rec? If there was, just put him in the spot. If he's good enough to be an alternate. not gonna,
Who's on Park and Rec now?
Deb says no alternates. I don't know if you heard me. Deb Fulton says that no alternates.
no alternates in that? Okay,
She says she don't like trees.
okay. Well, anyhow, you wanna do that motion over again, or do you accept it the way it was done? Not to advertise in the paper,
Well,
just
put it in the newsletter.
put it in the newsletter, right?
Just try to keep it a secret, he'll get around.
Yeah.
Okay, public participation, I asked this before, Mike, go ahead.
Are you finished?
Yeah, no. So
Are you, I'm sorry.
For public participation, I got an email from Matt Henzel who said he built the website. He'd be happy to volunteer for free to get the site up until the new one is active.
All right, our mayor has received that, he's on the website.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
He'll talk to it.
yeah. I know how to
Okay.
reach them. Yeah,
Thank you, Josh.
yeah.
Mike, go ahead.
Mike Ozer, and I'm here as the chairman of the Mount Pocono Municipal Authority. The COVID-19 regulations in reference to shutting off the water for non-payment of sewer bills has been relaxed. So as of I believe as of tomorrow or Wednesday, the shut-off notices to the residents and subscribers to the Mount Pocono Municipal Authority who have not paid their bills will be forwarded a letter that unless something is done, their action will be taken to shut off their water. So, I mean, it's been over a year since we've been able to do that. And now it is coming back to fruition that we will be shutting off their waters.
You're following the PUC.
We're following the PUC regulations, correct. And also, we have one more step as well to follow. That's the Pennsylvania American Water. Because they also have they put in another guideline as well. And we are following those regulations. And basically, my comment to that is it's not fair that we have people who are not paying their sewer bills. When that actually goes back to the other subscribers on the system, they have to pay higher bills because of that. So we are taking every notice possible to make sure that the bills are being paid and paid on time.
Great.
Thank you.
I have something I gotta bring up. I don't think I brought up the fact that Nicholas Mitchell,
Go on, Franny, speak up.
did we do that?
We did not.
Then we accept his resignation? No, we didn't.
No, we did not.
Nick,
We hired someone.
Road
but we
crew.
never- okay, I
That
have
wasn't on the
to
agenda.
the street
No, it
committee
just
and
happened
council
today.
members.
Yeah.
I, Nicholas,
Well,
Nick, Alara,
we talked about.
as of today, April 5th, 2021, I am giving you my 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah, but we talked about it, and I said, we probably should talk to him to see what what if it's something.
Well, we can still accept and then talk to him and find out.
If you want.
And he can
Otherwise,
renege,
you're not
right?
gonna accept it for.
Then Nick can renege if we
Yeah.
come to terms.
What?
He can renege his letter if we come to terms with him to stay. Right? Thank
Okay, you
you.
don't wanna accept it?
No,
We
I
can
think-
accept it.
We'll accept it, but I think personnel committee should speak with us.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Yeah, and if he wants to stay, I can speak with him, and he.
right.
Mike.
So I make the motion to accept Nick, what's his last name?
Michelera.
Michelera's resignation from employment of the Borough of Mount Pocono,
And he's hereby given a 2 weeks' notice.
if I give him by 2 week notice.
I'll second.
Second by Pat. On the question. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion so, well, we gotta see what, well,
Okay. What's called that song?
she in favor of that or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Okay.
carried, motion carried.
Franny,
All right, I asked once for public participation.
right here, Franny, on his face.
Go ahead, you're not in the public.
Yeah, I'm public.
You
To the
want-
residents and council, I just want to thank you all again. It's hairy in here sometimes, but it is what it is, and at least it's being transparent to everyone. And I apologize if I went off on a rampage a little bit, but I don't apologize because it's very sensitive to me what is in print that I am not. And I want to just read and state that I am not prejudice or racist. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything in the comments? If not, this meeting is adjourned.
Claudette said she wanted to be heard.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. No, it's not adjourned. Does Claudette have something to say? I'm sorry, I didn't remember that. Did you ask her or? We have to get signatures on that resolution, you know. He signs, I need a good pen.
Oh, no, she's
Where do I
not.
sign?
Oh, no, she's not. No.
Yeah, sign
No.
first.
There's always next meeting, I know.
Adjourn?
I'd
You
like to
adjourn?
make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.